The tale of Hollowbrook Manor begins on a stormy night, in a small village not far from where the manor still stands today, abandoned but not forgotten. For centuries, Hollowbrook Manor was the grand estate of the Alcott family, one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in the region. It was a place of opulence and pride, but beneath the surface, a dark history festered, one that has plagued the manor ever since. The Alcotts had secrets, terrible ones, and as the story goes, they never truly left. The manor had fallen into disrepair over the years, its windows shattered, its walls crumbling under the weight of time and neglect. No one dared to enter it. Those who had been foolish enough to try never returned the same. Some didn't return at all. It all began when a young woman named Emily, a local historian fascinated by old estates, heard rumors about Hollowbrook Manor. She was intrigued by the mystery that surrounded it. The whispered tales of strange lights flickering in the windows, of cries that echoed through the night, of figures seen moving in the shadows. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily set off one evening to explore the manor. As Emily approached Hollowbrook Manor, a thick fog rolled in, shrouding the path in front of her. The wrought iron gates were rusted, hanging loosely from their hinges, and beyond them, the manor loomed like a decaying giant, hidden beneath a blanket of mist. Lightning crackled across the sky, illuminating the hollow, broken windows for just a moment. She hesitated, but curiosity pushed her forward. The gate creaked open with a loud groan. She stepped inside, the air around her growing colder with every step she took toward the entrance. The front door was ajar, as if someone, or something, had been waiting for her. With a deep breath, she pushed it open fully and entered the dark, rotting hallway. The air was stale and thick with dust. Moonlight spilled through the cracked windows, casting long, eerie shadows on the floor. A grand staircase twisted upwards into the darkness, its wooden steps creaking under the weight of time. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the hall. Emily's heart raced as she spun around. The front door had slammed shut behind her. As she stood in the dim hallway, Emily felt an oppressive weight in the air. Her instincts screamed at her to leave, but the historian in her was determined to press on. She began exploring, the floorboards creaking beneath her feet, every sound amplified in the silence. She found herself in a grand, decayed ballroom, where a massive chandelier hung precariously from the ceiling, its crystals coated in dust. Tattered curtains swayed gently as if touched by invisible hands. Suddenly, Emily heard the faintest sound, a whisper carried by the wind. She froze, straining to hear. There it was again. Indistinct but unmistakable, like someone speaking just out of reach. Her breath caught in her throat as she noticed something out of place, a piano in the corner of the room, its cover slightly ajar. One key was pressed down. She hadn't touched it. No one had, or so she thought. That's when she saw it, a shadowy figure standing at the far end of the ballroom. Its outline was faint, like smoke curling in the air. She blinked, and it was gone. But the feeling of being watched remained, growing stronger with every second. She hurried from the ballroom, her pulse quickening. As she moved deeper into the manor, the temperature seemed to drop. She found herself in a forgotten library, its shelves lined with rotting books. In the center of the room stood a single chair, facing away from her. She approached cautiously, her hand trembling as she reached for the chair. With a soft creak, it turned on its own, revealing nothing but an empty seat. A loud bang echoed from the hallway. Emily jumped, her heart pounding in her chest. She rushed out, only to see the grand staircase again, but now something was different. The air felt heavier. A door at the top of the stairs, one that had been closed when she first entered, was now slightly ajar. Against her better judgment, she climbed the creaking stairs, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The door led to a dark hallway lined with portraits, their faces obscured by dust and time. As she passed by one, she swore she saw the eyes shift, following her. Her breath quickened, her mind racing. Was it her imagination, or was something truly here with her? Emily eventually found her way to a hidden passage, concealed behind a dusty bookshelf. It led into the depths of the manor, a place forgotten even by time itself. The air grew damp, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed through the stone corridors. As she ventured deeper, she discovered an old, underground crypt. The walls were carved with strange symbols, and in the center of the room was a large stone sarcophagus. The whispers were louder now, echoing off the walls. She could hear them clearly, voices calling her name, pleading, warning her to leave. But she couldn't stop herself. She reached out to touch the sarcophagus, and as her fingers brushed the cold stone, the lid began to shift on its own. The room plunged into darkness. When the light returned, Emily was no longer alone. The crypt was filled with figures, ghostly, translucent, their eyes hollow and full of sorrow. The Alcotts. Their tragic past was written on their faces. They were cursed, bound to the manor for eternity, trapped by the very secrets they had tried to hide. Emily had uncovered something she never should have, something that now had its hold on her. She ran, the spirits close behind her, their whispers turning into screams. Every door she passed slammed shut, every window rattled violently. The manor itself seemed to be alive, determined to keep her within its walls. Just as Emily thought she would never escape, she found herself back at the front door, her hand shaking as she reached for the handle. She yanked it open and stumbled into the cold night air, the fog swallowing her as she fled the grounds. Behind her, Hollowbrook Manor loomed in the distance, its windows flickering with a pale, ghostly light. The village would later say that Emily was never the same after that night. She rarely spoke of what she saw, but those who visited her said she seemed haunted, her eyes constantly darting as though she was being watched. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened in Hollowbrook Manor. But the whispers persist, and those brave or foolish enough to visit swear they hear the cries of the Alcotts, still trapped within the manor's decaying walls, waiting for their next visitor. The question remains, will you be the next to uncover the haunting secrets of Hollowbrook Manor? If you enjoy the video and want more creepy stories, please hit like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. That's all for today. Thank you, and have a nice day.